just above Saint-Michel-de-Maurienne, or Maurienne, which is the gateway to the Col du Galibier. Just come for a few hundred metres up the hill on the other side for a bit of a warm up, because you don't want to be tackling something like Galibier going in cold. But the first challenge of the day is the Col du Telegraphe, I think. Telegraphe, yeah, whatever it's called. Anyway, and that's just up there. You can see the fort on the point of that peak there. So that's about 11 or 12 kilometres of climbing before you have to go back down a little bit and start climbing proper up to the Galibier afterwards. So it's a big old day. So this is it, the start of the climb of the Col du Galibier. Leaving Saint-Michel-de-Maurienne and first going over the Col du Telegraphe. So as I was saying, that's nearly 12 kilometres of climbing, about 5% first, before you get into the rest of the Galibier. So it's a pretty big climb in its own right. And here's the first hairpin of the day. First of many, I imagine. That's it, 12 kilometres to the Col du Telegraphe, 34 to the Col du Galibier. So to say the Galibier is a Tour de France classic would be an understatement. It is the classic of the Tour. I think it's been 63 times already, plus it's even been in the Giro once as well. I think the first ascent it was in something like 1947, or rather the first time it was in the Tour de France anyway. So as you can tell, it's been in several times a decade, and this year's Tour they even came over it twice. Went over it from north to south one day, and then back over south to north the next day, all the other way around. Can't remember which. So yeah, along with Mt Ventoux and the Alpe d'Huez, it's probably one of the most famous climbs in road cycling. And assuming I make it today, I'll have done all three. So an ascent from the north side, which is where I am now, is 34 kilometres long. Average gradient of 5.5%, but most of the climbing is much steeper than that, because it's got about 4 or 5 kilometres of down after the Col du Telegraphe. So the first kilometre is pretty easy, it's in like 3% or something. I mean the second kilometre now, this one's already 9%, and then much of the climbing itself is probably around 7%. So nothing desperate, but when you consider you're climbing for nearly 30 kilometres, it's pretty damn tough. So the challenge for me today is going to be pacing myself. Compared to the climbs I've been doing recently, 6-7% is pretty damn easy. I'm used to 10, 11, 12%, but that's over much shorter distances. This is about 3 times as long as the last climb I did. Also the issue of making sure I get enough fuel, because you just can't physically carry enough calories up to climb this long. So I'm gonna have to stop somewhere for lunch. So I hope they take cards. I don't bring any cash. If I'd been here 2 or 3 weeks ago, there'd be thousands of other cyclists riding up and down this. But now that it's late September, much quieter. Definitely a better time to do it. Plus there's less road traffic as well, because there's no tourists. So I'm about 4 or 5 kilometres in, and I don't actually need a rest yet, but I'm making myself take one in the name of pacing myself. There's also a pretty vantage point to see the Fort du Telegraphe as well, and just generally a pretty stunning spot. So take a few minutes, get some water, maybe get a bite of something and carry on. This is the Col du Telegraphe, the first milestone of the day reached. Definitely worth taking a break here, taking on some fluid and some food, and just sitting in the sun, getting some warmth back in the legs, because it's going to be pretty damn cold at the top of the Galibier later, so I'm going to enjoy the scenery and relax in the sun down here now. Climb up to here felt pretty easy, to be honest, compared to the stuff I've been doing recently. As I say, most of it's about 6 or 7%, and for 11 or 12 kilometres, 6 or 7%, pretty simple. Just, I need to fight the urge to go harder and put the watts out, because yeah, when you're used to doing 10-11%, then you definitely feel like you can go a lot harder when it's only 6%. But definitely need to pace myself today, so it probably took about an hour and a half, which no idea if that's any good or not, but don't really care. All that matters is I get to the top, and at that pace I should get there today without running out of daylight or energy, so all good. So I was wrong. According to that sign, the tour bus came over the Col du Galibier in 1911, which is crazy. I didn't think they went up hills that early on, but anyway, it's long before 1947 or whatever I said down at the bottom. But it's about 4 kilometres of descending now into Valois, and a kilometre or so of flat before the climbing proper starts and the main event of the Galibier itself, so have to enjoy the descending for now. So that's the beautiful little town of Valois, or Golden Valley. I was counting on being able to get food and drink here, but it largely appears to be shut for business this time of year. I've managed to put up some water in a water fountain, but not yet seen any shops or restaurants that are open, unfortunately. So, fingers crossed I don't bonk. The road's just starting to kick up again now, so the climbing proper starts here. After an initial ramp out of Valois, this next section is quite long, straight and flat. I'm back in the big ring again here. So the kilometres are falling away, which is good. 14 to go now, I think. 11 kilometres to go now, into the final third. This is where the views start to get really, really stunning. Proper mountain road scenery. Pretty desolate. Pretty quiet as well. Virtually no cars on the road, which is lovely. Check out these views. At around 8 kilometres to go, this is the end of the long straight drag. And the road really starts climbing now, up this hairpin is just up there. It's also about 2,000 metre mark, so the altitude to start kicking in soon. So it's another good opportunity to have a rest. Unless you're racing, of course. It's also probably the last place to get water normally, except we're in a drought, so the fountain's off. Straight away you notice a change in gradient. The last kilometre sign said 80%, but this is definitely more than 8% from this initial steep ramp. Plus you got used to going at kind of 5, 6, 7%, so even if it is 8%, it feels harder. Definitely in the climb now. There it is, up there, that little notch in the skyline is the Col du Galibier. Looks like you can almost touch it, but still 3.5 kilometres to go and probably 200 or 300 metres of up. So, definitely got a sting in its tail this climb. I think the final kilometre is about 9%. At least the road surface is really nice. I just had my last energy gel about 500 metres or so ago, so I hope I timed it well, otherwise I'm in danger of bonking. And yeah, there's definitely nowhere to get any food up here, unless I can beg, steal and borrow. Final kilometre, I think I'm going to make it. I'm not got any fuel left, and I'm running on empty, but it's amazing the psychological boost you get when the finish line's in sight. Just up there. The road never used to go to the top, properly over the Col. It always used to go underneath the tunnel here, that maybe 20 years ago or so, when they had to close the tunnel for maintenance, they built this extension to the road over the Col, and now of course everyone wants to go over the top. It's much more fun, much more scenic, and of course it's the bigger challenge. So that's what I'm going to do now. There she is, Col du Galibier, final 400 metres. And that's the view down the other side. See the Bar Desert crown and Dom de Neige up there. Bermege, whatever it's called, over there. Pretty stunning. And Briançon all the way down there. It's touch and go towards the end there, whether I was going to make it or not, but grit my teeth and I managed it. It's so worth the effort. Views up here are stunning. The sense of achievement is something else. Can't stay too long up here, otherwise I'll freeze with the wind chill now that I'm really drenched in sweat. But need a few moments to take this all in, because this is absolutely stunning. It's hard to compare it to Mt Ventoux, which is the other biggest climb I've done, because that was a much longer day on the bike, even though it was a shorter climb itself. Now it's a pretty brutal midsection, which is consistently about 9-10%, whereas this is generally speaking a lot less steep and there are more places to recover because lots of hairpin bends. But either way, this is the high point of my road biking career, definitely. Longest climb, highest climb, most vertical, whatever you want to call it. So, pretty impressed with my achievement, even though it's nothing compared to what the pros do. They don't weigh 90 kilos. Another shout out to Mountain Drop Offs and Jewellery for these sunglasses, pretty amazing for road biking. It's great great when you're going in and out of the shade with the transition lenses, and the airflow behind the lens means you get very little build up of sweat and steam, which is exactly what you need. Only slight criticism is the fact that the lenses are so big. I'm trying to mop the sweat off my brow, I get a big smear of grease on the lenses. But there we are. Small criticisms. Anyway, definitely time to go back down now before I freeze. I think I've bonked while descending, or very, very close to bonking anyway. Had to stop here and have a lie down. I don't think this is possible. I guess when you're going down, it's your upper body that's using energy, not your lower body. So you're basically doing a load of press-ups, plus your hands are having to grip the handlebars on the brakes pretty tightly. So I'm exhausted, and my fingers are frozen. So I'm to recharge my batteries in the sun. Not that I can get any more calories, but at least it is all downhill from here. So long as I don't faint, I'll be fine. So the thing with the Col du Galibier is, if you're doing it unsupported, you've got to get back to your car somehow. Which means if you've done it from the north like I have, you've got to reascend the Col du Telegraphe just to get back to your car again. Which is the last thing you need after you've just done 30 odd kilometres of climbing. Luckily I managed to find some food in Valois and avoid bonking, because otherwise I'd be stuck there for good, because there's no way down from there, every way is up. But still, it's a 5 kilometre drag back up to the Col du Telegraphe before we can then get down again. So, joy. I finally made it back to the Col du Telegraphe, probably about 4 hours after I was last here. This seems like a sensible place to sign off this video now, as it's all downhill from here. And I'm no longer freezing my ass off. We're about to bonk, probably do it in about 10 minutes. So, ciao.